Well, for now, we shall be picking up from where we left. We are having a conversation on tennis, and in studio we're joined by Angela Okutoyi, and of course we are joined by Tennis Kenya section Wanjiru, Mbugua, Karani. Now, Wanjiru, before I pick up from where I left off with Angela, maybe can you tell us maybe what the calendar looks like? Because at the moment, most disciplines have been given the go-ahead by the Ministry of Sports as well as the Ministry of Health to, resume competition. So maybe what does the calendar look like for Kenyan tennis players?
Thank you, Richard. We, as Tennis Kenya, have a very busy calendar this year. We believe that tennis is safe, and we are able to play it in using all the COVID protocols. And with that, we are starting this February with all our local tournaments. So we have mini tennis tournaments, we have a junior tennis tournament. On the international scene, we've already held 3 weeks of J4 and J5 tournaments. In July, and in November we have 2 other sets, about 5 weeks. And we're actually hoping to get another 3 weeks in May. The success of these last 3 weeks has given us the confidence to continue, just hosting these tournaments. Kenya is perceived to be a safe country right now, and therefore we are also attracting players from Europe, from the US, from South America, from Australia, from just generally around the world. The other thing that we have proposed to host is the Davis Cup, which will be in about May, June. And again, we also believe we'll be able to host those countries in Nairobi or Mombasa. We actually haven't agreed on which. But we'll be expecting about 12 to 14 countries to participate. And of course, Kenya will be among those countries. We may also be hosting a Fed Cup. We are just trying to make use of when Europe and the rest of the world is closed and Africa is still open, that we can be able to tell them, come to Kenya, we are safe and we are happy to host.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now in a bit we shall be talking about the change in the Davis Cup format, but in regards, borrowing from that point about the calendar and coming off of Angela, of course, winning the J4 tournament. Maybe Angela, what's next for you? What's the main tournament? Or are you going to be participating in all the tournaments to keep fit, or do you have targeted tournaments that you want, of course, to participate in?
Right now, I still don't know what my calendar is, but I believe I'll just be playing like tournaments. Yeah.
I know, it's okay. And I asked that because now that you're at the top, obviously so many people will be coming at you, and same way you beat Shifa, of course, in 2018. You can expect more people, of course, to come at you. And now for Wanjiru, given the competition, because I've realized that mostly we talk about the juniors, because is it intentional from the federation that's where we are focusing on mostly the juniors? Is that it?
Yes, as Tennis Kenya, development is a very big deal to us, and therefore maybe like 10 years ago, we really concentrated on the young ones, having a big drive using mini tennis, and so now we are continuing up the ranks. So that's how come now we have players like Angie, who are now turning 17, but have actually been playing maybe for the last maybe 10, 12 years using our development programs. And yeah.
Okay.
And maybe just to mention about Angie's schedule,
yeah,
when
sure.
she goes to Morocco, what happens is they then sit with the Morocco Center and they give her a whole schedule of the tournaments that she's meant to play. And Angela has also been the proud recipient of what is called a level up, which is like a wild card to any J1 or tournament. So she chooses any J1 or J2 tournaments that she wants to go to, and she'll be immediately in the draw. So all this is part of the program that will come up with the Morocco Center and her coach, Francis Rogoi.
Okay, and Wanjiru, we talked about it earlier about how she balances, studies and playing tennis. But then again, given your development programs as a federation, maybe it also comes down to you to maybe, keep them in check. So how do you manage to do that out of all these players?
Out of all, how we keep them in check is, of course, we have a national coach who runs our player development and our national training center, and she's able to keep tabs with each and all the players. That's Caroline Odwar, and then she feedbacks to the federation. This player is at this stage. This is what they need. This is what they require. How can we help push them to the next level?
Okay, now Kenya plans on hosting the Davis Cup tournament. Of course, there has been a change in the format of how it's played, of course, and maybe ahead of that, maybe do you think we're going to get that chance, and maybe the preparations for that, and how the change in format is going to, impact Kenyan players?
Okay, so with the Davis Cup, let me explain. So what has changed is actually from the World Group up. But the group stages remain the same. So we still play Group 4 and then Group 3 and then Group 2. But at the top level is where now we'll be having the World Cup of tennis. So Kenya is currently in Group 3. And so from there, our format really hasn't changed. And we'll be playing to get to Group 2, and then later on this year. And then next year, hopefully play Group 1, and then we can be part of the World Cup of tennis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there's another issue. It's an issue, I don't know if you're comfortable talking about it, but the need for, hard courts here in Kenya as opposed to just maybe the clay court and all that. Maybe any update in regard to that? Are we going to be getting more soon on what's happening in regard to that?
We sure do hope so. Kenya does not even have clay courts. What we have are maram courts, which are outdated and not to international standard. And so the two surfaces we are looking to do would be hard courts and clay courts, the proper clay courts that you play at Roland Garros. And so it would be important for us guys to just get our center going. As you know, we've had issues with funding when it comes to our Karani center. And you're right, I don't want to say the government has no money right now, and they're not able to continue funding us. But the reality is we are struggling to be able to get that funding, to get that center going. And that center will have both hard courts and clay courts.
And clay courts.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be getting back to you in a bit. But now this question goes out to Angela. Of course, it's pegged on, of course, your long-term plans when it comes and ambitions when it comes to playing tennis. And in regards to that, maybe Angela, you can tell us briefly what you're targeting. Long-term ambitions, of course, and then if Wanjiru doesn't mind, she can add on to the fact that nowadays, recently, we don't have so many young players, breaking out into the into the big leagues. I'm talking about, if it's a female players, I'm talking about Women's Tennis Association, WTA, and for the men's, ATP. So maybe, Angela, you can tell us about your long-term plans, and of course, then again, Wanjiru, you can pick up from there.
Thank you. For me, my long-term plans is to see my junior ranking going to the top. Like before I finish my junior career, like to see my ranking at top 30, and I believe I can do it. So that I can, and also I want to also play the Grand Slam, Junior Grand Slam, before I finish my junior career, and hopefully do good in those tournaments. And my ambitions ever since I started playing tennis is to see myself playing the professional tournaments, which are the WTA, and winning Grand Slams. Okay,
I forgot to ask this, Wanjiru, forgive me for this, but still on Angela, maybe. What do you look, up to? Because looking at your peers, besides the one person I'm going to, I'm thinking about, because she's more of your peer. That is assuming you're going to say Coco, of course. But I'm talking about the one who has inspired you, of course, to be among the best. You're already among the best in Kenya, in Africa. So maybe who have you been looking up to since you started playing at the age of, 4?
I've been looking up to Serena Williams, because how she fights on court, how she strives for everything she does on court. It's really amazing. And the fact that she's a mother and she's still playing tennis, that really encouraged me because I'm still young. So if she's a mother, why can't I not do it? So that's what gives me motivation and keeps me going to what I'm doing each day.
Okay. Now, Wanjiru, kindly, if you can pick up from where we left. I was asking about the margins, where we don't have a lot of youngsters, young tennis players, breaking into the big leagues early on. Recently, in recent years, we've not, seen much of that. I expect the likes of Coco and a few others.
When it comes to being a professional tennis player, it's been very difficult for our players to break through the ranks into WTA and ATP, and that's because we use, of course, ITF uses the ranking system. So you need to play a lot of tournaments around the world to give you enough points to be able to keep going higher up the ladder. So what usually happens is by the time they turn 18, they just automatically just apply to go to play college tennis. And thereafter now we kind of lose them. And that's why actually it's so different for Angela, because she has started breaking through in the junior rankings. She's almost at 100. In another couple of months, we expect her to get below 100, to be in the single digits. And what you have to understand about Angela is that she is just it's not just about talent, but she's intelligent and she's a very hard worker. And with this combination, the sky is the limit for her. So we do see that she'll be able to go all the way into the WTA and ATP, into the WTA tournaments. We have several ways to do this. We'll be looking for sponsors to be able to help her travel to these tournaments to be able to get the points she needs. We are also going to be applying for grants from ITF, from IOC, from Olympic Solidarity, just to be able to make sure that that her dreams come true, because we really can see and we truly believe they are within reach for her.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for giving us the time right here in studio. And before I wind up, Angela, we have the World Tennis calendar, of course, is already underway. The Australian Open is, it's actually later this month, really. Who will you be rooting for, of course? I had to ask that.
Sorry?
Who will you be rooting for in the Australian Open? Of course, the first Grand Slam of the year begins this month. So maybe who are you rooting for in the tournament?
In the boys' side, I'm rooting for Rafael Nadal. And in the girls' side, Serena Williams.
I should have seen that coming, honestly. Wanjiru, for you, any favorites, of course?
Oh, yes. My all-time favorite is Djokovic. Team Joko all the way. And for the ladies, I'm with Angie. I really, really hope Serena is able to get this one. Yeah.
Okay, we sure do hope you get your way in regards to that. Well, for now, that brings us to the end of our first segment. But coming up shortly, of course, we'll be discussing the football review, what happened over the weekend. I'm talking about the Kenya Premier League. We had the Mashemeji Derby, which was very hyped, but did not live up to the expectations of many. And we'll also be looking at international football. So see you shortly.